Jephthah is a unique story because he was rejected. When he was born, they discovered that he was born out of wedlock. And so they put him out of the city. They put him out of the family. They put him out of the town. They put him out of the home. They put him out of his relatives. They put him out of the country altogether, and he became a outcast. So now this outcast refused to embrace the status of outcast, and that is it takes faith. It takes faith for you not to embrace what people have called you that you are. People can call you different names. People can give you their own identity and their own qualification. They could call you all kind of name, and it is so difficult to fight that and to be able to say, no, I am different. No, I'm not going to embrace the identity you are giving me. No, I'm not going to embrace the false identity that you are giving, the false label that you are putting on me. So there was a label that was put on Jephthah, and that label was that he was an outcast, that you will never be anything. You are an outcast. You are a failure. You are just a failure. It will never happen. But Jephthah, he through faith in God was able to stand. Through faith in God, he was able to change his own destiny. No matter what they call you, God could, by faith, through faith in God, you can change your destiny. You can rewrite your name. You can rewrite your destiny. You can rewrite your fate. You can rewrite your history by faith. And that is what this man did. He said, okay, you chase me out. You call me an outcast, but I'll call myself a deliverer. You call me a bastard, I will call myself a king. You call me a non-entity, I will call myself a warrior. And that is what he did. He went out. Of course, he started moving around with empty men and homeless, outcasts, down and out people. But it was not embracing the label. It was not embracing the stigmatization. He did not embrace the stigmatization. He did not allow himself to be stigmatized. Even though he was living among the homeless, even though he was, the Bible said he was actually living around among empty people, people that didn't have any destiny, people that were just totally empty. But he did not embrace that stigmatization. He did not embrace that destiny. He did not embrace that faith for himself. He said a faith for himself, and he said, no, I'm going to have another destiny. How did he do this? He did this by faith. So everybody had cancelled him. They had stigmatized him. They had put him out. They had said he would never amount to anything. And he made himself a success. And what did he do? What he did was he went and worked on himself through self-education. He became a warrior. He taught himself to war. He taught himself to fight. And in those days, it is the fighters actually and the warriors that were the rulers. I mean, the stronger your military is, the stronger your power is, the stronger you are. So this man was a strong man, and he made himself mentally, rejected the stigmatization, and he mentally, equipped himself and made himself the strongest man in his generation. This man built the greatest military of his era. Oh wow! Just like we say today, there are superpowers. He was able to build his own world of a superpower. He became a superpower man, a superpower army, and by that army, he made himself, he imposed himself as a king upon the same country that they had chased him away from. He imposed himself as the king over the same country that had casted him out as an outcast and a bastard. He was known as a bastard, but later on he became their king. Why? Because when there was a war against the country of Israel, when the war was there and they couldn't fight. I mean, even the whole army of Israel failed. They couldn't win the war against their enemies. And so they had to call upon him, and they went to look for Jephthah because he had the strongest military. Even though it was a disgrace and a shame for them to go and be looking for somebody they had cast out and called a bastard, but they didn't have any option, or they would have been enslaved. So he went, gathered his army and went against all the nations. He went and declared war in the name of Israel and won and conquered all the nations of the damn world. He conquered all the nations and set Israel free, and he made a deal with them. If I set you free, if I bring you liberty, my reward is that I'll become your king. From being an outcast, he said, I'll become your king. And they didn't have any option because they didn't want to go into slavery. So because they didn't have any option, they just agreed and accepted that Jephthah become their king. See what God does. See what God does. You can change your destiny like that. It doesn't matter what stigmatization that the people have placed upon you. Don't mind the stigma. You can change your own destiny by faith. You can make yourself to be so relevant. You can develop your capacity so much that your country will be depending on you. Your country will be looking for you. The destiny of your land, you could be in your hand just by you developing yourself by the spirit of faith.